So, how do I put this? The way I spent my wedding night wasn't all butterflies and rainbows, as one might expect. It was more like a horror movie than a fairy tale. Every woman knows the feeling of bliss when taking off their bra after a long, stressful day, but when your skin peels off at the same time, it's not as freeing as you'd think. Talk about skin-on-skin action. The only skin-on-skin I got was it being peeled from my chest. Ouch. That boob tape was a bad idea. Well, at least wearing it for hours on end was. Let's rewind to the beginning, shall we? Imagine this. After what felt like a decade of waiting and meticulous planning, we finally booked the wedding. We found the perfect venue, made all the decorations, thanks Pinterest, and agonized over the food and drink options. And let's not forget about the guest list. Once you invite one person, it's like you've opened the floodgates and can't stop the flow. It's like playing a never-ending game of who's happy and who's not. Planning a wedding is like trying to balance a spoon on your nose while riding a bike. Stressful, to say the least. But hey, it's all worth it when it all comes together on the big day. I got my wedding dress on and finished my own makeup. I didn't pay a lot for my dress. Why would I? I'm only going to wear it once. As long as I like it enough and feel comfortable, then that's all that matters. I quite like the high neckline dresses, with the open back look and long sleeves. Modest but still sexy. So that's what I got. And then I did my sister's makeup, who I called my best woman, and my mum did my hair with some lovely flowers in. It was perfect. After we were all ready, we got in the car and drove to the reception venue, where we was getting a vintage bus to the town hall, where we were getting married. Some people think that it costs lots and lots to get married, but it doesn't. Not if you live within your means. I hate how the media portrays that you've got to spend lots of money on this and that to have a perfect day. I just want to have a nice time with the people that matter to us, and remember a great day. I don't need to spend thousands for that. It's ridiculous. Anyways, we got to the venue and the bus arrived. I wasn't going to see the groom until the ceremony, so we arranged that I'd have the top deck and he'd have the bottom. I got on first and everybody followed suit and got on. It was great. Everybody loved the bus and it was so convenient for everyone. On the way there, people waved at us from the street. The ceremony was lovely. Even though I wasn't entirely sure how to act or what to do, there was some very helpful staff there who explained everything in detail prior to me walking down the aisle with my dad. I chose the theme song from Barbie as Rapunzel, only the tune, just to add a little nostalgia. It was a little embarrassing with everyone watching, but when you get married it slightly didn't exist. It flew by. We didn't even notice the photographer getting extremely close.
Oh yeah, on the video after, he's right up to the altar. And that registrar were a little pissy about it after, weren't he?
Yeah, he was. But it was our day. It's not like he was taking pictures of him, was he? Then we all rode the bus back to the reception venue. Everything was going smoothly. After the drive back, my husband and I got to have a turn in the driver's seat. It was so fun. I had to take my shoes off to hop in though. The only way to get on was via the outer part of the bus. Anyways, fast forward to dinner. We had pie, peas, and carrots. It was delicious. The only thing that went slightly wrong was the carrots. They were still a bit hard in the centre, but edible. But that wasn't a big deal. They had to go out like that. Dinner was a bit late already. And the dessert was cheesecake. We bought far too much food. We were eating it for weeks after. Thankfully, my family dog came as a guest for half an hour and demolished a slice or two. I promised him that months ago, and he was ready for it. He was so cute. Then, after a few more drinks and chats, oh, so many chats, everybody wanted to talk with the bride and groom. It was so exhausting. I mean, it was nice, but after you've gone around once or twice, your feet start to ache. But because you talk with everyone, the night goes so fast. It was 2 a.m. before we knew it. But before that was the cake cutting. And all I can say about that is don't get on the wrong side of my mum after 2 bottles of wine when she has a knife. She turned the big lights on and waved around the cake knife to announce that we'd be cutting the cake now. She honestly looked like a mad woman though. During all of this, my chest began to feel a bit itchy, but I ignored it and carried on with the night. I just thought it was because the building was getting hot, and I was tired. We didn't end up leaving until about 2 in the morning. That drunken stumble to the hotel was really funny. My dad was so drunk. We made him take some buffet food home and eat it on the way. But half of it ended up on the floor. He was swaying around. I had to hold him up. Hopefully, it helped a little. I bet that his hangover wasn't fun. Once we got to the hotel, I was so ready to go to sleep. I was exhausted. Little did I know there was blistering skin waiting to be pulled off underneath my dress. And that wasn't the only thing. The amount of hairspray and flowers in my hair was immense. It was all tangled up by this point, and I was not getting a brush through it. I just picked out the grips and flowers, the best that I could, and that was that. So I took off my dress and went to pull off the boob tape. I had to go slowly. It hurt like hell. I'm so glad that my husband is always prepared for anything. Thank goodness he had put a first aid kit in our car. What would I have done without him? I would have had to lay straight onto the covers, and my skin was sticky and slimy after having the top layer of skin ripped off, so it would have stuck straight onto the bedsheets. He sat me down and applied some lotion and a bandage after sanitizing the area. If you thought peeling off the skin was the worst, you're wrong. It was definitely cleaning the wound that stung so bad. After the ordeal, we hopped straight into bed and settled down for the night. We watched some trashy TV and turned off the lights. If you thought this would be a dirty story, well, then you're a perv. We went straight to sleep, that's it, I promise. If I could give any advice to people on their wedding day, it would be to definitely over-prepare. Don't stress yourself out, though. If you'd rather spend a little bit more money and have everything sorted for you, then do that. Just be aware that it'll cost a lot more, and you may not get exactly what you want. Oh, and don't wear boob tape for hours on end. I wore it before my wedding, and I was fine with it, but that was only for a few hours. Something's bound to go wrong, no matter what you do. Just learn to roll with the punches, and make it part of your day. I also wouldn't spend tons of money. We spent about $3,000 in total, which isn't a lot for a wedding and reception. Just budget for what you need first, and go from there. I'm not saying you can't spend a lot if you want to. You do you. It would just suck to go into debt over one day, you know? Have you checked out my website yet? It's filled with all kind of goodies for sale, such as stickers, bookmarks, and commissions. Oh, and don't forget to take a peek at my children's book, Super Poppy. And if you're feeling extra generous, hit that subscribe, share, and like button. Plus, if you're into binge watching, I've got plenty of other hilarious videos just waiting for you. So, what are you waiting for? Get clicking. See you!